Hi there, my name is Rich, and today I'm going to be going through returning a view with a custom model in Umbraco 10. This is largely going to be following the actual documentation in the custom controllers section, and this has just been a particular issue that I've been having for a while, and so I just wanted to do a quick video, largely for my own reference. This is pretty much just for future Rich, but if it's helpful to others, then great. So currently the way that I've been using Umbraco, and I've only been learning for the past couple of months, is that while Umbraco is obviously built on an MVC architecture, I've pretty much been doing everything in the models and the views. So we're creating our page types, our document types, largely and using Models Builder to strongly type them, and then using the view which inherits from those typed models. And within the view, because of the magic of Razor templates, we've been able to define, calculate, and use custom properties just there and then. To adhere more strongly to Model View Controller or MVC principles, I wanted to move the defining, calculating, and the sort of just the everything to do with business logic outside of the view and instead into a controller. And that is what we're able to do in Umbraco 10 quite easily. The documentation is actually really, really good for this. However, I did have a bit of an issue with reading some of it, so I'm just going to go over and see if there's anything that can be done to make that experience slightly easier. So just to go through what the actual process is going to be, we get our model, we define that as normal, so that's kind of our basic home page. And then we create a view model which inherits from that home and then allows us to define extra stuff. So for example, a Boolean that's going to be has image or has text or anything like that. That's where we can define that that's going to be something we're going to care about. In our controller, that's going to be where we're going to calculate those values. So the way that this actual flow is going to work is that when the request is made to get to the home page, the home page controller is then going to hijack this route. So it's just going to, instead of letting Umbraco take care of it, it's going to, nope, we're going to sort out our own controller logic here. And this is going to create an instance of this view model, which in itself has actually inherited from the model. And then we can use the details of the model to populate those custom properties and then return that into the view, which then inherits from the model view. From the view model that was created at this kind of point. And that then allows us to use those custom properties. So this keeps the actual logic outside of the view, and instead just the view then just checks how stuff works or what's been defined. So for example, here in our routing, we're just going to get our home controller, which then creates an instance of the home view model and sends that over to the view. So let's go take a look at how that actually works in code. Very quickly, a bit of a thank you over to Dennis, or D_inventor. He helped me in this particular post on the Discord of returning a view with a custom model / adding fields to models, and we just went through it, and he was super helpful with a bit of advice. So I'm going to go through this in a little bit of a ramshackle way. Like I said, this is largely for my own reference because I only just learned about this, so apologies if anything is incorrect. Consider this video to be living documentation, and if I am corrected, then I will make a follow-up later on. So this is a view with custom model, a new project. All that we've got is this home page. That is the document type with a view of home page, and that's inheriting from this home page, and the home page has got body, which is text. And the way that we're currently going about things is I want to put a display of no text if there is no text. So if body, which is text, if that is null or white space, then put no text. However, even this at a basic level is still business logic. I'd rather have defined something on the model itself which says is body empty or something like that, and then have what the definition of that be handled by the controller. So that's what we're going to be looking to do. So to kick off with, going through our steps, we're going to start off by creating a view model. And so bear with me while we just create new item, and we're just going to call it home view model. And so crucially, this is going to inherit from that home page. It's now going to complain because we have to create some constructors, and that's completely fine. So this takes in content and also has a published fallback value, and then inherits itself, uses base. So once we have this, we're then able to just create our custom properties. So all we're going to be doing here is we're just going to create a bool, true or false, has body. And in this, just for clarity, I really should have called it body text. Texty has body text get or set. So that allows us to get the value and also to define it. We're then going to create a controller. So super quickly, we're just going to create the controller folder, controllers. And in here, we're going to create home controller. Home controller. Okay, very quick aside, because this will then error later on in the video. I've just created home controller, and that needs to have been home page controller because the document type is actually home page rather than home. So you will see home controller throughout the majority of this video, and it needs to have been home page. But we'll catch that right at the very end, and it will be heartbreaking. Great. All right. It's always nice when you create stuff and there's automatically an error. All right, so what we're going to be doing is instead of going from inheriting from controller, we're going to be inheriting from a render controller. Again, complaining, so we've got to generate the constructor. And so this creates the vast majority of stuff we need. It's not everything, but we'll cover that very, very shortly as we go. So I'm going to go here, and we're going to do the public override of the iAction result of index. And then what we're going to do, this is actually a quite nice thing because while we have this object of current page, that's going to take whatever it's expecting to be the current page, but that it is actually nullable. So if we don't do a null check, it will continue to complain slightly. So a really nice thing that Dennis recommended to me at the very top is if you go, if current page is not home page, and then we're going to define if it is home page, what that's going to be. So I'm just going to call it home page object, just for clarity. Then return current template, current page. Now this looks a bit weird. I totally get that. Basically, this is the standard for a hijacked route. So it's just going to take the current template and return the current page. But this is specifically aimed at using the home controller at the home page. And so this should only really work whenever there is a page which is a home page. So this should actually never happen, but this is our null check because we've got the if it's not a home page. And so this checks that it is a home page and then returns us the home page object. So this then means that home page object now exists and it is definitely a home page, which is useful for us. Apologies if that's not quite as clear as it needs to have been. So now what we're going to do is create the home view model. So that's the instance of this new home view model that we just created. So crucially, you might recall that we needed to create the content and the published fallback value. We can see those here. We're just going to come back to that very no, you know what? We're going to do it right now. So what we have to do here is that in this view model constructor, we have to give it the published content. So that's actually just going to be current page. But then we actually have to give it a new published fallback value. And so this is all in the documentation. It's all there for you to copy and paste, but it's just for our awareness. We need to create this, and for this we need to have the service context and also a variation context accessor. So we're just going to inject those in. So we're just going to go here, private read only, and then iVariation. Thank you. And then we're going to do very, very similar for the service context. Apologies. And we'll just do that. And then we can have these in the constructor. So we're going to take one of those, which is just going to be called variation. And then we're going to have a service content. And that's just going to be called service context. It's context. I always think it isn't. So for clarity, what we've just done is to add in the variation context accessor and the service context into the home controllers constructors, and then we're just going to instantiate them. Luckily, we've got some auto magic, which is just going to detect that we're going to need them, which is great. And then we're going to do that, and so we can then put them in. So we've got the service context and we've got the variation. So now that we have this, we can then, within this with newing, I think, whatever, we're then creating of the home view model, we're then able to define these custom fields. So for example, has body text equals to, we could just do hard true or false, but we're going to go, so the homepage object dot body dot is null, not equals, is null or white space. And in fact, we're going to do the opposite of that. We don't need to do it. So, and then we close that with a semicolon. So what's actually happened here is that, just to kind of clarify again, is that our controller intercepts or hijacks the request for the home. We're then creating an instance of this home view model, which is exactly the same as a normal home, except that we've got this addition of the has body text. And the logic that we're then going to use to create this has body text is literally identical to what we did in the view, but we don't want it to be in the view because we don't want business logic to be in views. We want them to be in controllers. So now that we've got this, we just return it. So now we're going to return, return current template, my goodness me, of the newly created home view model. Okay, so notice it's basically exactly the same as this null check here, or at least this home page check, I should say. And then we can just send it out here. And then the final step is that in the actual view, we're going to change this to being the home view model because we're going to be taking in the home view model. It's going to take the entire namespace, and that's fine. That's great. And now we can use this new thing. So the old way actually still will work because it's exactly the same, but we've also defined this new property, which is called has body text, just for my own clarity. So now we can do a bit of logic. We still will be using if statements and stuff, but still going to be, my apologies, if model.has body text, then we can give it that. We'll stick with this logic. I know I've flipped it around, but still. Otherwise, we're going to say no text. And this is going to be the new way. And this is the old way. So while this might seem incredibly trivial, in fact, we don't need that. Thank you very much, Razor. And yes, I know it's really irritating. I've flipped these around. It's because I put a null at this side because I just would rather have the has body text. Apologies. This means that instead of having any logic, we're not doing this check at the view phase. We're doing that check at the controller stage, which is far more testable as well as just better for separation of concerns. So I believe if we let's do the live demo check and just make sure that this actually works. We should see, I believe we'll see like hello world twice showing up because we'll have had the new and the old version. And I believe, okay, great. So cannot bind, which is wonderful. Okay, fun thing that I got wrong, and I haven't actually checked out that this is correct, but yeah, it has to be the actual name. The controller has to be the actual name of the document type, and I called mine home controller, and it should be homepage controller. So yeah, this should now actually work, and also I should basically I was just checking whether or not this would get triggered, or this debug point would get hit. Yeah, okay, cool. Now we're fine. So now there might be some other errors because I haven't actually double checked. Yeah, there we go. All right. So that was just the text I put in there because I was getting slightly worried that things weren't working. So text here, hello world. So this is the body text. Save and publish. And if we save, then that shows up twice. I mean, and this is because both methods are in play right now. And then if we have no text whatsoever, and if we save that, save and publish, I think it's Control P that does that. Anyway, this will show up as no text. So what we've actually managed to do, just to recap then, is, let's just stop this. We have created the custom properties that we're looking for, which inherit. So we're basically adding this has body text to homepage by creating this home view model, which then when the controller, which has to have the same name as the document type, which I did mess up, when that gets called, that then instantiates, first of all, it sets the current page to be an instance of the homepage object of the homepage doc type. publish content, etc. Instantiates the view model. That's where we can define our logic. Obviously, you can actually define what the values are going to be first, or have other functions to do that. This is just a very quick example of that. And then you return the current template, which in our case is the home page, and that is returning our home view model, and then that allows us to do that. So that is a demonstration of something which has been causing me a bit of grief, and which I hope might be helpful for other people to be aware of. Anyway, this is all quite nicely detailed within the Umbraco documentation, which of course I'll put a link to, of the it's the returning a view of the custom model. And yeah, so that is that, and this has certainly been helpful for me to do, so I hope it's helpful for you, and probably helpful for future me for when I forget how this works. All right, have a great day. Take care.